So, welcome back to the All Things MCC podcast, where would you believe we talk about all things MCC. I'm your host, Seapeekay, and I'm super excited to introduce our guest for today. It's Sapnap.
Hello, it's me.
It's you. And I'm very, very excited for this one. Very, very excited because not only is this, you know, a cool chance to just hang out, but you came in here and you set my expectations pretty high, saying you were going to come in and, you know, talk your smack, and I'm excited for it, but we'll save it for later. We'll save it for later.
Okay. I gotta speak my piece, you know.
Exactly. I think this is just something I was interested in. So you joined MCC in MCC 7, which was one after Dream and George joined MCC. Mm-hmm. Was there a reason like you were an event later, and like, or did you like know much about MCC before you joined, or did you kind of just come as like a group?
Dream and George did MCC, and I have no idea how they found it or why they decided to do it, but they did it, and I was like, wow, that looks like a lot of fun. And I was like, Dream, tell them I want to play, and then I was in the next event. So that's how that happened. Yeah, it was just that simple. I was like, Dream, I want to play, and then I got in.
Okay, that's I mean, honestly, I kind of figured that's how it happened, because I think people forget that now, like the waitlist and everything is crazy at this point. Like, it's huge. But like, in the earlier ones, like I remember I was supposed to be in MCC 1, but I couldn't do it. MCC like 2 and 3, like people were actively able to just be like, hey, can my friend play? And it was like, yep, sure.
Yeah, they were just like, yeah, sure, dude, whatever you want.
So yeah, it was a very interesting time, and I think MCC 6 and MCC 7 is where people consider it like the event switched and became like much more competitive too. And I think that's partially down to, you know, you guys joining as well and making it such an intense competition.
Yeah, unfortunately I wasn't able to play in the early MCCs when it was absolute freelo. Unlucky.
Yeah. Man, imagine how much you could have farmed back then, man.
I would have done some crazy stuff, dude. That's all I know.
Well, that's actually this a good segue, to be fair, to what is it that makes what makes a good MCC for you? Is it like knowing you're going to get to play certain games, or is it having certain teammates, or what's like the Sapnap good MCC?
Sapnap good MCC is lots of PvP played and no Buildmart. That is ideal. If I get that, I'm happy. Okay. Luckily, I've been getting that recently. That game has been voted out over and over.
Yeah, people are realizing the game's dog water, dude.
Buildmart sucks. I don't understand why it's I'm bewildered how that game hasn't been taking it out. Did you know, Dream told me the stat, right?
Okay.
In the last 5 MCCs, right? The last 5 MCCs, Buildmart has been played twice. 3 times it's been skipped. And like in one of those MCCs, it literally was brought down to pure democracy twice, where everyone just hopped in and like got to vote. And the only times it was played, it was one, there was only 8 games. It was forced to play it. And the other time, it was going to lose, and someone played a power-up where the votes were switched. And then it got in. I don't know if that's true. That's what Dream told me, and I think that's funny.
If memory serves correctly, I think it is. This is so funny, because I have written down, do you actually hate Buildmart? And if so, why? But
I don't hate Buildmart. It's just like, every game in MCC, when you play it, it is hype. It brings up energy. Every game is like, let's go. And then you get to Buildmart, and it's actually unironically a snooze fest. It's like, holy crap. I'm going to mine blocks for like 10 minutes here. I'm going to run back and forth in mine blocks. And I think there's much better ways to have a build game. I just think there's a lot of other ways you could do it. But that's the only game I don't like. Every other game is awesome.
Yeah. No, I mean, I fully agree too. Like, I mean, it's also my worst game, so I just don't like it as much. I'm never going to enjoy a game that I'm not that good at. But I think the idea of the game is actually like sick. It's such a cool concept, but I think it's the wrong thing for an event like this, personally.
Yeah.
You know, this is without
just
having people sharpen their pitchforks.
Yeah, I mean, there's no need to sharpen pitchforks and go in a whole, let's kill everyone for if they like Buildmart, but in my opinion, the game it just feels different compared to every other MCC game.
Yeah.
In a bad way. In my humble opinion.
No, that makes a lot of sense. I'm looking through, seeing if there's like a coherent way to make these questions make sense, and they're all just kind of falling into it. And this is maybe a big one. and I might know the answer already. Would you say that you ever find yourself censoring what is like your honest opinion on a matter, especially to do with MCC, I guess, because you have like a large audience that really takes like what you say to heart?
Yes. I was not so good at that in previous MCCs, and I inadvertently caused a lot of hate because of one MCC. And I was like, okay, I need to be. I was just pissed because I'm like probably the most competitive person in MCC. I love competition.
Yeah,
I get competitive. I get hot in the moment, and I get upset. But I learned, I should probably try and be a little bit more careful about what I say, because I had one incident where I just went ham, and it went too far. So yeah, I definitely learned, and in the future will be more careful about my honest opinions on things, because I do have a large audience.
Yeah, see, that's what I mean. It's so tough, right? Because I mean, I'm super competitive too. Like, I came from a competitive gaming background when I was younger, and I don't know. There's almost like a level of it where like I understand why you do have to be careful with what you're saying, but also like I don't know. For me, like I don't really have the issue as of right now, but like having to not say what you think because of like the fallout must be like frustrating, because just because you're expressing an opinion, you're not asking people to act on that opinion, right?
Yeah. Am I allowed to curse, by the way?
Oh yeah, go crazy.
I was gonna say, like, yeah, there's a lot of times where something will happen, I'll be like, this is bullshit, this is dumb, and I do say that a lot, but sometimes I'll be careful and just leave it at this is bullshit and this is dumb, rather than explain why I think things are bullshit and dumb, because people will act on my behalf and take things too far. So
yeah. No, that is the thing. I'm like you said, in competition, like in MCC, like guys, everyone's gonna say stuff sometimes, and then look back and I'd be like, oops. But it's like in the heat of the moment, I don't know. It's so intense. Like you often hear it, even like polite stuff, like when you're playing parkour tag and you're like, oh, I can hunt this team easily. I know I'm better. Like even that can be misconstrued sometimes in a way, it's never that deep, I don't think. Like I'm never trying to be rude or toxic, but I'm just
that's what I think.
I'm talking my own shit about myself, man. Like
I agree. I feel like a lot of people are actually really sensitive about that. It is like, look, as much as people want to say it's a for fun event, that shit is competitive. Like I'm there to win every single time, and like I'm gonna do whatever it takes, in my opinion, to win. Like, if there's a bad team that I consider, quote unquote bad, and it's not like, it's nothing against, like, if I'm like, oh yeah, this team is kind of bad or whatever. I don't mean that in like I dislike the people, and everybody's like, oh, they're not as good as Minecraft, so I'm gonna go hunt them, and I'm gonna get them out in 10 seconds or whatever.
Yeah.
I think, I don't know, I guess like maybe bad is the wrong word. That is an example of maybe being a little too mean, but just being, I don't know. I feel like, as someone who has come from really competitive games, me saying, oh, these people are kind of bad, to me is like very, very, very not mean compared to some of the shit I've heard.
No, for sure. Like, I mean, I'm assuming when you play Valorant, like someone gets called trash every single round, without doubt.
Oh yeah, dude, are you kidding me? Oh yeah, I'm usually the one that's yelling at people and telling them they're trash. But yeah, example of that, which, and maybe I'm wrong, but as someone like, I've been wanting to say this, but I feel like it's not a bad thing, in my opinion, to be like, I guess it depends. It really does depend on the context. But saying that like someone is more of like a support player, for example, I don't know why. Because like I have played games, like I have played with pro players, and I have no problem sitting back and taking the role of the support player. Like I was playing a game of Valorant with some pros. Hey, guess who locked in smokes, baby? Guess who locked in smokes and was smoking for the team and throwing stims? That was me. I guess like I come from a place where like I'm very used to like I'm okay. Like if I'm the worst player on a team, I'm okay, or not the worst player, but like, how do I word this? If I'm not as good as other players, I have no problem stepping back. And that even comes in Minecraft. Like whenever I was on Dream's team in the first MCCs, I let that man take the reins. I was like, all right, I'll listen to whatever you say. I don't give a crap. And I feel like a support player is not a bad thing. Being a support player and being good at it depends like on what you mean by support. If you're just saying support to say that someone is whatever is bad, then yeah, that can be taken like wrongly. But I'm saying someone is supporting as in like on the team, they like, let's say you're playing Sky Battle, they're the ones that go and grab like the iron for you and then bridge to the thing and build armor for you, while the PvP player is is making sure everyone doesn't die. Taking up that, going to those islands and taking control of the areas and stuff like that. I personally don't think that's a bad thing, but I think it matters very specifically on how you're saying it and why you're saying it.
Yeah, for sure. And this came up a little bit when I had Ant on in the first episode of this, and that's because I do all the like team predictions and everything, right? And I find it really difficult because obviously everyone's kind of like my friend first, but I also want to do a good job of analyzing stuff. So I find myself kind of treading on eggshells because I'm not trying to offend people, but also I still feel like I have to be honest in what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So it's like kind of a tough one. And I was saying this, like, I know I've definitely used support player when I didn't have anything else to say. Like, I know I have. But like you said, like there is, I think especially like, I think H-Bomb's probably the best example of it. People consider H a good support player. And obviously H is cracked at the game, but he also is so good at leading and telling people what to do and making sure other people get the stuff they need to do well. And that is exactly what a support player is. I wouldn't be being toxic by calling him that.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like H-Bomb is a great example of someone that I would kind of consider a support player. You never see H-Bomb doing some cracked play, but H-Bomb does every other thing perfectly, and it shows. The guy is tied with me for the most wins. He knows what he's doing. And I, like, for example, like I would consider, when you put it like that, I would consider H-Bomb a support player, and H-Bomb is a great, amazing player.
Yeah. No, exactly. It is. It's all about, like you said, it's about the wording and about why you're using what you're saying. But
why you're
I
using
think,
and how.
I think over time, and like I see this on the Reddit. I mean, I'm not sure how often you ever go on the Reddit, but
I go on the Reddit every day.
So the terminology and like what's deemed like, what you can and can't say about certain things is like, it does change pretty frequently. So like support player used to be fine. And then like support player kind of shifted a little bit too. And, now it's like trying to find ways, like I speak purely in statistics now. It's like the safest way to do anything. I'm like, statistically, this player finishes here. No one can be mad. It's true. And it saves me the hassle of like trying to find ways to say things.
Also, I don't think it's like, I guess if anyone gets like their feelings hurt, it's like no one's trying to say it in like a mean way. And it's also like you can see people improve. Like, who's improved like massively and is really good now? Zeus. The dude's cracked now. The guy is good as fuck. I remember when he got subbed in for, I was like, bro, that team on your team. I was like, bro, they're making the dodgeball. It's over. Like, I was like, what a sub, bro. Dude's gonna mess up. And Zeus was considered like a support player. He would finish, I don't know where he would finish, but towards the bottom. And now the dude is cracked. I feel like anyone that wants to get better, like MCC is not like, not everyone in that event is that good to the point if you're not doing great in the event that you can't, if you want to, you can easily just grind and easily get top 20 100%.
And I think that the part where that became like most clear as well is I guess you didn't get to play Parkour Warrior that much because you got taken out not long after you joined.
I got to play it. I got taken out at MCC 11, so I got to crank it like at least 3 times, I think.
Yeah, so I remember that was like the big thing back then, and what you're saying about like practicing and getting better is, I think the argument that was made back in the day was, I was fully on the side of, well, if you don't want to not be good at it, get better at it. And I fully adopted that mindset too. Like I wasn't great my first MCCs at all. And then it was like MCC 6, MCC 7. I was like, I don't want to suck anymore. I just went on this like huge grind arc of like practicing PvP and practicing movement and all that stuff. And I think the argument was that because, like you said, people say MCC is a for fun event. And I agree with you. I also it's a competitive event. Yes, there's no money, but everyone still wants to win.
Everyone wants to win.
People used to say that they didn't want to have to spend time grinding parkour just so that they could compete in the event with their friends. Now, obviously, Parkour Warrior is a bit of an interesting one because if you weren't good at it, you could get to like stage 3 and then you'd just be trying one jump for 10 minutes. And yes, that would be frustrating.
The skill gap was too large on Parkour Warrior. And the thing is, the skill gap was massive. And for some reason, they didn't want you to finish the parkour thing. So they made it really hard.
Yeah.
So I feel like there's a lot of fixes to Parkour Warrior. I feel like Parkour Warrior is a great game. I feel like it should be brought back, in my opinion. Just make the course longer and make it easier.
I mean, I'm waiting on it because Ailtum, one of the Knots Crew guys, comes to my chat all the time and tells me that Parkour Warrior will return. Like one day, it'll be a different version of the game, but it will come back, and I'm excited for it, and I'm waiting for the big shock for the next MCC, and they just throw out a Parkour Warrior game. Like, that's my dream. Just give us a new one. Bench Parkour Tag for a little bit.
Yeah, I really hope so.
All right, so do you, I mean, I guess you come from a competitive gaming side, so like probably not, but do you feel any pressure knowing that people literally just expect you to do really well? And like, what's the lowest placement you could get where you'd be like, this is fine? Like, you know, is it like top 5, and if you're outside of that, you're like disappointed, or like how does that affect you?
I always aim for top 5. If I don't get top 5, then it's kind of and then if I get lower than top 10, I would actually be upset.
Okay.
I would be like, fuck, I tossed. I've only gotten out of the top 10 once out of all my MCCs.
I think that was early too, right?
MCC 12 or something, yeah. And
yes, actually it was 10.
I feel 10. So I feel like if I ever get out of the top 10, I would just be like disappointed in myself. I'd be like, oof, I really tossed that one. Because I feel like to get in the top 10, you only need one game that you popped off in, and you'll crack top 10 as long as you don't toss, like really toss in the others. Like I got third last event, and I had the worst to get to the other side in horrible Rocket Sweep Rush. Like, I mean, literally to get to the other side, I had multiple like ending in the 30ths.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like, it was bad.
I think you're right. It is like, providing you're like really cracked at one game, and I mean, you know, obviously you have the advantage of like most of your average placements are like top 10 in like pretty much every game. So I mean, you have quite a few games that, you know, you have to fall back on if you need to. But you know, you always get a bunch of points in Sky Battle. Honestly, I actually didn't realize how good you were at Ace Race. I actually had no idea that
people
was a game.
sleep on my Ace Race.
Yeah,
I feel like
I had no idea. Like, obviously, we were sort of back and forthing for first, second in the last one.
You bastard, you got me.
I did.
Because you studied, you nerd.
Yeah,
I didn't study.
I'm a big old MCC nerd. But like, I look at, you know, you've got 8th, 5th, second in your last like 5, then the 15th. But like, you know, top 5, top 2, like that's wild. And I feel like people, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like people wouldn't think of Ace Race as a game for you necessarily.
No, yeah. I mean, I got really good at Space Race because I learned the skip, and that shit is busted as fuck.
Yeah.
But I think in the new Ace Race, I don't see a world. I don't know. I feel like there's no way I don't get top 10 in Ace Race from now on. I feel like Ace Race now on really benefits me because it's really about like the way you beat people now is just having better Minecraft movement. Where before in the other Ace Races it was just like knowing the maps, which I didn't really like.
Yeah.
Which is just like people would just know like all these like ridiculous skips and the most optimal way to run the map. And now the maps are very straightforward, and then the skips don't really save you too much time. They save you enough seconds where it's like if you do the skips, you'll maybe go up 1 or 2 spots.
Yeah.
Versus doing the skips, like dude, you could go from like literally 30th, and if you hit that skip on Space Race, bro, you're in the top 10 right there.
Yeah. Yeah. The big Space Race skip was the bane of my existence. And they also, I mean, they tried to sort of like, I feel like half patch it by making it so you couldn't do it, but then like people still found a way around it. You just had to fly a little more awkwardly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm in agreement. Like, I actually like the new Ace Race. I like the changes. I think it's like less punishing if you make mistakes, which for most people in the event is probably a good thing. Like, I kind of hate that part because you know, like the thing is now is I know I've already done it, and everyone else is going to have done it, but everyone has VOD reviewed that Ace Race map, and they now know the best
fastest route.
And if you now don't go for that, you're instantly getting 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th place somewhere.
I feel like, I don't know how possible it is, but just cranking a new Ace Race map for every Ace Race would be nice.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
I think
it's kind of impossible.
That's it. I mean, I think, especially because, I mean, you'll know this, but like Nox Crew have made $0 on MCC. They've made no money. So they're funneling all their own money in from, you know, marketplace maps and stuff into this team to make MCC. And I think someone told me from the Nox Crew that the Ace Race maps are the hardest thing to make because there's so much that goes into it. Like, there's all the different kind of like power-ups you get. You have to have a map that makes sense. You know, we don't want any repeats of the first Space Race where everyone followed Phil and we all just flew off the map.
Oh god, that was terrible.
It really was.
I was in like 5th or something, and then I don't even know what I got at the end. It's like, pretty bad.
I remember the worst part was I watched my own like VOD back after that, and as I flew over to the left, I could just see all the arrows that were pointing down to show me which way to go, and I just don't know how I didn't see it in the moment. But you trust Phil's in Minecraft. At the end of the day,
yeah, you do.
You trust that man.
He led us. He literally led us down the wrong path.
He led us astray. It's so sad. But yeah, I mean, hopefully, new Ace Race I think is going to be good. I'm excited to see what the next map is they do bring out. I think it's going to be a few MCCs away, honestly.
Yeah, this next time we play Ace Race, dude, it's just gonna be. I mean, I've already watched they literally someone put a video where they put together all the fastest routes. So you just have to watch that before the event, and then you're good.
Yeah, pretty much. There's a few extra skips, but they're all kind of like 1 block wide skips, and I just don't know who else is. I mean, Illumina's going to go for them for sure. But...
Oh, I'm going for it, to be clear.
Oh, you're going to go? Okay, so yeah.
I mean, there's that one skip at the beginning where, like, on the first red jump pads, where you can jump, like, through this 1x4, 1 by something thing. But it's pretty... It doesn't look that hard. I feel like I'll get it first try.
Yeah.
If you don't, though, you're fucked, because you're going to land in soul sand. That's
one thing I was saying. It's not that punishing, but after looking through, like, all the VODs and finding what I think are all the, like big skips, the big skips are punishing. Like, if you mess up the big ones, then you will actually lose places. And that's what makes it so scary. There's like 4 different routes for every part of the map, and they're not going to cause you much of a placement drop. But then there's, the one like big skip for each part, and they will. So it's interesting. I mean, I guess if I was already doing well coming into Ace, I mean, I feel like I could probably drop to like 25th in Ace Race and still finish top 10. Like, I'm pretty confident in my own Ace Race. So... maybe I'll go for everything. Just go for absolutely every skip.
I'm going to go for it. I want to get first in Ace Race. I've never done it. Really nice.
You got it. To be fair, that would have been both of our first places. Yeah, it was my first ever. And, because of the practice server, I'm kind of like Mr. Ace Race. So I really needed that. So
yeah.
You can have the next one.
I'll take the next one. That's all right. Good. We can trade
exactly. spots. Are there any games in MCC that you've like fallen out of love with? So like a game that you used to really like, but now you're just like, I don't really mind.
Not really. All the games that I like, I've continued to like. I've just gotten much better at them. Yeah. There's no game that I liked originally that I don't like, to be honest. I feel like every game that I've liked, I've just continued to like.
Yeah, it's interesting because I was thinking to myself, like, I remember when you joined MCC and like obviously you came in and you were already good. But then like I was looking and I feel like season 1, like you said, you were you teamed with Dream, and you said that when you were on teams with Dream, you kind of just let Dream do his thing. Like you would be almost like be the support for Dream, right?
Yeah, so, I would take a step back. Yeah,
right. And like I'm looking like through your placements and stuff, and it's not as apparent as I actually thought it was. But you're not someone who, well, you definitely don't practice publicly ever, and I'm assuming you don't do much behind the scenes. You just don't strike me as
last MCC I just showed up.
Yeah, like I feel like you literally you like play Valorant all month and then show up and play MCC, like
pretty much.
But like what, like I don't know, it's almost like not something changed, but like you've always been good, you don't practice that much, but now like your placements are just becoming ridiculously high every single event. Like, first, 8th, 4th, 2nd, 1st, 9th, 3rd, and like the 9th, was a 9th place team. So I mean,
yeah, it's a tough team.
Yeah,
I love that team, but it was a tough one to win. Yeah.
So like, do you think it's just because you've gotten to grips with like the MCC games more and like how to play in MCC? Like, you playing survival games on like a random Minecraft server, I'm sure is so different to how you would play survival games in MCC.
Yeah, I think part of it is I feel like I've really gotten to like master like how to play MCC and how you should play each game. And also a lot of it is people, like someone messaged me like, "Oh, how are you so good at PvP?" I'm really not that much better than a lot of the people on MCC. Mm-hmm. I just have the confidence where I'll just fucking run at someone, and it scares them. They literally just get scared, and I'm just booking it full speed. I'm like, all right. In my mind, I'm like, all right, if I kill this person, we win, because I'll kill them and then I'll just be in some really advantageous situation and it's over. So I'll just run full speed at someone. They'll get scared. They'll freak out for whatever reason. And then I feel like and it's over. That's the big thing, is just confidence. And I just move quick. Like I don't second guess myself. Once I decide something, it's just we're going in. If I die, I die.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, in fact, I think it was you in the last Sky Battle or something. Like we were just chilling bridge into mid. and like you and someone else on your team just jumped on us, and we were like, why would they? It's 4v2. I was like, why would they even we didn't even consider you would do that, because you know, it's not like, again, like I know that
it was me and George
Sky Battle team too, but you were just like, I'm going. And that
was
it.
I remember a little bit is you weren't looking at me, so I was like, oh, I can get a free crit on him, and then once I get a free crit, it's like 2 more crits and he's dead. I got a free crit, and then luckily I was with George, and George just doesn't give a fuck, so he was like, bro, George just goes in, so he's a good person just to go in with. So I got a crit on you, then you started smacking me around because you don't go for crits for some reason. Whenever I attack you, you've done this multiple times where you just chain it like that. So I backed up, and then George just killed you, and then Tommy tried to help, got knocked off, and it was over.
Yeah, no, it is. It's it's a mad thing, and I talk about this occasionally too. There's a few players, and you are one of the people who has this, where you're enough to make a team, like especially in games like Sky Battle. If I look to my right and it's your team, I know I'm not going right.
Yeah.
Right? Like, because, and there's a few players that have it. Like, you definitely have it. Dream has it. I would say Illumina has it. Fruit has it. It's like this, like, I don't know, almost this, like, aura where it's like, oh, well, you don't go fight Sapnap's team first. Or, oh, you don't go fight Dream's team first.
Yeah.
And that helps you so much in, especially, I feel like it happens in games like survival games, too. Like, I know if my team's camped in a building and your team's camped in a building, someone's coming for my team. Like, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Like, because it's like, oh yeah, but it's Sapnap. And like you said, there's I think it was the Battle Box a couple of events ago. It was when I was with Rambu and everybody, and I lost the fights to you, I lost the fight to Puns, and I lost the fight to Dream in a 1v1.
Mm-hmm.
But it was the first event ever where I was just like, I don't care who it is. Like, I'm just gonna go take the fight. And like, all I know is that I got like everybody at least weak enough for it to make a difference.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, we had a good Battle Box, so it must have worked out well. But that, I remember, like, I was like, I'd fought you and I'd fought Puns, and then I think it was like 2 rounds later, I was against Dream, and I was like, I don't care. I don't care. I'm running at him.
That's how you have to take.
Was running at him, smacking him. Like,
that's how you have to take every
fight. It's a confidence
fight.
thing, like you said.
You just have to go in. I mean, there is a little bit to it where, like, if you're fighting someone, you shouldn't, like, just because, like, there's pros and cons to that. The way I do it is a mixture. If there's someone that, like, I think that I can kill quick, I just go in. Like, I don't give like a fuck. I just go in, I kill them quick, and I move on. But there's someone that, like, I'm like they could, like, potentially beat me if they play their cards right. Then I will look for another avenue to fight them. Like, I won't fight them head on. I'll, like, try and run around, go kill someone. I don't know. I feel like it's how most people need to fight. Like, if, like, I'm fighting someone and they know they can't beat me in a fight, they should have confidence, but they shouldn't just try and fight me. For example, they should try and, like, bow me and stay back and take just whatever is, like, the optimal route, I guess. Like, I feel like a lot of players don't do that in MCC. They just, like, they either just, like, run, or they'll just, like, fuck it, I'm fighting, and then they die, or they run and they die anyways. You just need to, like, choose, like, I don't know. It's harder in the moment for a lot of people because they're nervous, but, like, you just have to choose, like, whatever's optimal and just stick to it, even if it doesn't pan out.
For sure. I mean, I think we saw that. In fact, it was in the same Battle Box. I think it was like Tommy's team, like, was rushing at JoJo, and like JoJo 1v4'd, and it was like, there's no way in this world JoJo should have won that when they all had bows and arrows, and she was on like 2 hearts. You know, like,
yeah, because they saw JoJo on 2 hearts and they're like, just wanted to run in there and smack her one time. But yeah, you just sit back and you bow and you just fill in the middle, like, so you win if, I don't know, if time runs out, and then you just do your thing.
Yep. That's it. So this is probably a quick answer, but you're now at a point where there's no way to say you're not easily one of the best players, like, in the event. Mm-hmm. When it comes to applying, like, for MCC or, like, filling out the form or whatever, like, do you bother putting anybody in, like, the I'd like to team with this person anymore, or do you know that you're kind of at a point where, like, you just kind of get what you're given?
I usually just put people just in case, and a lot of times I'll put someone, and like, I just know, like, I'll put someone that's reasonable. Like, I won't put, like, Dream anymore because there's just no shot that's happening. But I'll put, like, a George on there or something like that. Something that I can actually have team with and it makes sense. Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. I figured it was, like, you know, kind of past the point where you really had much say. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, I think Scott said to me that the better I get, the harder it's going to be to put me in MCC, which is a horrible concept for me after a year-long training arc. I've got like 5th place 2 of the last 3 events, and now it's at a point where I'm like, oh, I'm doing well, therefore I'm not going to get to play MCC. Well,
I feel like there's so many players.
Cool concept.
There's always a spot for you. There's always
I always just try and.
There's always a way to balance it.
Yeah, I mean, I always try and angle it. I'm like, yeah, but like, I have like the MCC channel. Like, it's my only angle is that I'm in the event. If I don't have that, I'm nothing. Please.
There you go.
So, I actually have 2 things written out, and then we'll see where we end up. First thing. So this is actually the first episode that will come out before an upcoming MCC. So these release 1 week before an MCC and 1 week after an MCC, so I can get a pre-event and post-event idea from people.
Yeah.
So, like with this MCC, do you think there's any? Is there like standout teams where you're like one of these teams is gonna win? Do you think there's any like underdog teams or like a wild card team? Like for me, I'm super excited to see Hannah Rose in MCC. I think that's gonna be interesting. And Hannah's grinding. Like I just woke up like 3 hours ago, sat on my PC, and Hannah had been streaming Skywars for like 11 hours. And I was like, okay.
I think your team is pretty cracked, to be honest. I think your team really should make it to dodgeable, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, you have Curtsy. People sleep on Curtsy. Curtsy's really good. You have Scott, who knows, he's been in MCC since like the beginning. Shovel's also been. I'm a Buildmart
vote at this event.
No, you're not. Shovel's also been in the event, and then there's you. So I think that's a really good team. I think Dream's team is really good as well. I think my team's good. I think all the teams are good actually this event. So
it's the statistically most balanced event ever.
Yeah,
which is an interesting. I mean, I actually only found out yesterday that Scott's scoring system is your average in your last 10 events.
Seems reasonable.
That's actually how you get your placement, which is why it's going to be harder for me now, because like I used to just place like 17th all the time, and now it's like usually top 10. So this is where it's going to start getting really difficult. So
you're going to have to start carrying your own teams.
Yeah. I'm literally going to have to throw a couple of it. I mean, this is the first time in a long time I'm actually coming in on season 2 averages. I'm statistically the best player on my team.
No, yeah,
which is definitely interesting.
You're going to have to start being the guy. You know what I mean?
This is my problem. I always say that I'm like definitely good enough to do my part as like a second best player, but I'm not good enough to like fully go off on a team on my own yet. So
you filled the role of like if you were the second best player on a team, that team was going to be really, really, really good. Is the way I always viewed it. I mean, when you teamed with me and Dream, or you and Dream, I was like, oh, that team's really good. When you teamed when our team in 21, I was like, oh, our team's really good. Like, but now you're getting too good. Now you're gonna have to start soloing it. That's when it gets rough.
The real madness. the real like crazy part is like I look back sometimes at the first few events of like season 2, and I just don't know how I was allowed. Like the team, it was like me, you, Puns, and Catherine Elizabeth. Like we didn't win, but that was a busted team.
We would have won had Puns not gone 0 for 8 in dodgeball. That is ridiculous. I don't even know how you go 0 for 8. That is crazy. Don't worry, I say that to him all the time. I'm like,
oh really?
Yeah,
never let him live it down.
Every single time I have the chance. I mean, it is crazy to be fair. It's Puns, and he went 0 for 8. How?
Yeah, because Puns is so nuts. Like it's not even that like wild if someone else did it, but because it's Puns and he's so good that for him to miss 8 shots is wild.
You know who I want to see be like the number 1 player? I want to see how Zeus does being the number 1 player on his team. Yeah. I feel like if he had some good players behind him, they could definitely take a W for sure. And Zeus is pretty good at dodgeball too. His dodging last event was pretty nice.
Yeah. No, Zeus is cracked, and I mean, I've got a lot of respect for him too, because he really said like, he was like, I'm gonna go on a massive training arc, and did. Like he streamed himself playing like PvP Legacy, Skywars, the practice server, came back and was so good. But I think he's in like a tough position now, because he came from the Simmers. I'm sure he still wants to play with them, but he also now has that. He's that competitive.
He wants to win now.
He wants to get the dubs. From placing 15th and 16th back to being on a team where like I know we're likely going to come 10th.
Yeah. So it's
like that would stress me out so much. So I don't envy the situation that he's in, but I do hope that he gets to, jump in a bunch. I think he's like the perfect. I don't see an MCC where you can't fit Zeus in. At this point.
He can balance in the MCC for sure, 100%.
So we gotta get Zeus in more MCCs. Justice for Zeus.
I hope so.
And that brings us to the last thing I actually have written down here, and this is I'm very curious about this, is how excited you are for MCC Island, because, you know, again, you're not someone who does practicing on stream, or we now know ever. But like, do you think you'll find yourself like jumping on Island and stuff, like especially before events, or?
Yeah, I could definitely see myself hopping on Island. I think Island will be kind of like I'm bored, let's just play some MCC Island type of thing, which would be good. It'd just make me better at MCC specifically. Just practicing those games over and over again. I'm excited. I think it'll be big. So there should be a lot of players and a lot of really good players that you can practice against in MCC games, which probably bring up the level of everyone in the event realistically. So the event's only going to get harder because MCC Island.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm excited to. I think that's where I'm going to find myself, like when I'm like playing Minecraft in free time or whatever. Like, I'm like, oh, let's just hop on Island. I mean, I'm gonna stream it a bunch for sure. So I'm excited to see the increase in people getting better, especially at the games that are on there, because I play in another event every now and again called Block Wars.
Yeah,
and it's basically a bunch of the old and current MCC testers have their own event.
Yeah,
where
really.
They have a bunch of games, and I go into that event and get absolutely rolled.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I get destroyed, and this is why it's such an interesting concept, because people always talk about how, oh, like Minecraft needs an esport, or it needs like a real league, or it needs this, and like it wouldn't even be most of the people in like MCC that are playing in that.
No,
it's
the
gonna
best,
be all the cracked kids
the
coming
best,
out of like
the best Minecraft players. Yeah, they're just gonna be like kids that play the game 24/7 on a bunch of servers, and you won't know the names of most of the people that that are playing, to be honest. But it would still be cool. Like I would love to see that happen, because I like competitive stuff. So I personally would love to see that.
Yeah, I know there's definitely like, I know people are trying to bridge that gap. I mean, I know Pika does so many like Twitch Rivals stuff, like things now, and you know that's the closest we really get to a Minecraft event that has a prize pool.
Yeah,
I guess. And that's nice, but you know, I'd like to see, you know, like a time where like esports teams are picking up like Minecraft players to like be a professional player, or like Minecraft teams. It'd just be such an interesting thing to watch happen from afar.
Yeah, the average age of the esports player would be like 13 and 14. Right. Jesus Christ. Could you imagine?
There, like, over double their age, like just rotting in the corner.
Oh man, it'd be crazy.
But that's about all I wrote down. I mean, you definitely. I mean, to be fair, you were actually very polite, Sapnap. I mean, like I said, I'm sure you won't mind me saying that the message you sent me said, "Why haven't I been in your podcast yet? Let me come talk my shit."
Yeah,
and actually, pretty mild, man. You know, it's like
yeah, I don't know. I guess I can't. I mean, there's not too much to say. Like,
based on the question we asked earlier, about how to censor your opinions, you're hardly going to come in and be like, "Fuck everyone."
I guess like one of the things I would talk shit about is I do have like a massive ego when it comes to MCC. Like, I just truly think I am the best player, and I feel like even though everyone on the Reddit wants to debate it, I feel like there's no debate when it comes down to who's the best player, in my opinion, about who's going to win you MCC. Because I feel like,
I mean,
I feel like the Reddit really undersells Dodgeball. They don't even count it, like, in who they think is the best player, which I think is really troll, considering Dodgeball, in my opinion, is the most important game out of them all. Like,
true.
What's the point of getting to Dodgeball and losing? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, it definitely is something that needs to be more considered when they're thinking those things. I mean, from my point of view too, I mean, I genuinely think like it's kind of between, if I had to pick like one player who I was like, this person can completely carry my team, it's you, Illumina, maybe Fruit, and like Puns on his, like, I mean, Puns is really on his BS right now, actually. Puns is going kind of crazy, actually.
Yeah, Puns has been doing good.
So, yeah, I mean, yeah, his placements are wild, like third, ninth, fifth, second. So, yeah, he's also going nuts. But then it's also going to be people who fill gaps that I don't fill. And I guess I'm similar to like you guys, is that I love like the PvP games and stuff. And, you know, my perfect teammate is someone who fills the gap in like Sands of Time and Buildmart or something. So I need like H-Bomb and Scott on my team. They're my carries.
My take on that's different. Like, I feel like having a team, like having like, let's say you have like me and George, and then you have two people that are really good at Buildmart, hurts your team. It's better to have a team that is all really good at a certain thing, because then when you get to that certain thing, you just crush it, and you just get so many coins, because otherwise you're just gonna end up getting averaged here in every single game, which is not like, it's better to have like 2 games or 3 games where you just crush, like absolutely crush. Because realistically, like, you're probably just gonna get average, even if you're not very good at a game. Because like people just fuck up in the event, and people mess up, and stuff happens, and people like, so you're just like, you're more than likely just gonna do average, even if you're not very good at a game. So it's better to have games that you just demolish, in my opinion.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, you see it, I guess you see it a lot in like, especially in games like Parkour Tag and Battle Box. Like, you know, the team that does well will likely have like 3 players at least in the top 5, and that's how you're banking big points. I think I want to put together like a cracked ace race team.
Yeah,
I think the bonus coins that you get in ace race could like completely change the entire event.
You still get the bonus coins per where you place on each lap. Is that still how that works? Like if you're first on lap 1 and 2, you get like bonus coins for finishing first on those 2 laps.
I actually have no idea, honestly.
I know they did that, right? They did that for like something, for some.
All I know now is that for sure when you win, I think you get unmultiplied, like, you get 300 bonus and 400. Yes, you get 700 coins unmultiplied for finishing first.
That's pretty crazy.
That's madness. Like I would have had my first ever 3K event if Ace Race was like 1 game later in the last event. So I'm banking on like a late Ace Race. I want a late Ace Race in this next event.
I'm down for a late Ace Race. I saw something on the Reddit.
That's going to be my key to my first 3K event, because I need it now. Like, I've got my Ace Race win. I need my 3K event, and then I have to come first place individual so that all the Reddit thinks I'm S tier and not A+.
There you go. It's just a small task.
That's all I need. So
most of it sucks though. Most of the PvP games get picked out first. Like, we never have like a late game PvP unless it's survival games for some reason.
Yeah,
I've seen a lot of people hating on survival games. I like survival games. I like having an aspect where there's one game where if you fuck up, you fucked up. You know what I mean? Like,
which is so interesting. It's interesting. I think that's the reason that so many people hate it, right? Is that, you know, it's like, oh, but then if I die at the start, it's like 10 minutes of spectate, and it's like, all right, well, just don't die at the start then.
Well, it's just like, yeah, that sucks. It does suck, but like, that's what makes it fun. That's the only game where like I actually get nervous on, because it's like, holy shit, there's actual stakes. If I die, like, we're screwed. You know what I mean? Like, if we die, like, we're screwed in the event. We get ruined. We get like 0 coins. But that's fun. That is fun. Because like in all the other games, like if you mess up, there's multiple rounds in every single game. Like, every single game is multiple rounds. There's multiple laps on Ace Races, multiple rounds of Hole in All, multiple rounds of Rock Sleeve, Battle Box. Like, every other game has multiple rounds, which I think it's cool to have a game that only has 1 round. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In my opinion.
No, I'm of the same opinion. Like, survival games is survival games. Like, that's the whole concept, is that you have 1 life. If you die, you are done. Like, yes, it sucks if it happens early, of course, but I think now, like, most teams in survival games just play the exact same strat of just run to the border and then slowly walk in, looting everything. I know I've seen a couple of teams stick near the middle, and like, especially I think it's the last map we're on, the city living one, where, you know, you can like loot the mall and stuff, and there's so much stuff in there.
Yeah.
So I think you definitely see it, but that's usually like the braver teams. So I mean, I think I was actually watching Pun's POV for that, and they were just running around looting everything in the mall, because they're just like, I'll just do what I want. Because Puns has that aura where no one's gonna rush him. So you have freedom.
Well, I feel like in survival games, most people won't rush each other because it's risky. Like, even if you like fight a team, like, someone's probably on your team gonna die. Like, you need all your people alive in the end, because the end, it just goes bonkers in that little ending thing. It's fucking like chaos. Like, there's literally just like so many people alive and stuff. So you need your people at the end. So I feel like I feel like in survival games it's like that. It's not just like a me or a Puns thing. It's like no one wants to fight in that game. I rush people. I think last event, like, I rushed G's team and I killed G in some random house. Like, I'll just rush teams because people will just run. They just run away. It's like, okay, I'll just bow you while you're running away and kill you. It's fine. Works for me.
Yeah. This is interesting, actually, because now we're on survival games. It really just reminded me. I don't know how I forgot this. Do you think you and Dream were cross teaming in the last event in survival games?
Well,
what's your take on this? I know it was like a pretty 50-50 from what I saw around. I mean, you know, I didn't see it in the event at all. because I died and was just sad because we had 3 players, so we were trying to work out who's gonna sub, who's coming in, who we're getting. Mm-hmm. And then obviously it was right at the end. I was like floating near the middle, and I saw you and Dream stood in the same house, and I was like, what's occurring here? And I've seen like the clips of it. I'm interested in what your take is, like your honest opinion.
My honest opinion was that it made sense. Like, we were both the last people on our team. I mean, we didn't even really like. I mean,
nothing even came from
it. Nothing came from it, anyways. But like, it made like I would not have just done that with Dream. I would have done that with anyone that would have done it with me. Like, I would have, if it was anyone, I would have walked up to them and tried crouching at them and see if they either ran away or tried to fight me. Because like we were both the last player on our teams, and we were both getting killed by a team. So I was like, bro, screw this. I'm just gonna run a Dream and see what happens. And obviously, I know Dream thinks like me, and I'm like, all right. He's probably not going to kill me, and he didn't. And I mean, nothing really came of it, but I guess potentially things could have came of it. I won't be doing that again because I was told not to do it again.
Yeah,
but it just made sense. Like, it wasn't like a because it was a Dream thing. Like I said, I would have tried to done that with literally anyone. It was a necessity. I was getting killed by some team, and I was like, bro, let me get some backup from someone that I see is by themselves.
100%. And I mean, I think if I was to fully step back from it and just give like, I guess like devil's advocate in this whole situation is like, in that situation, like you said, it was other teams of players and you and Dream were the last ones alive. Strategically, it made sense for the 2 solo players to try and take out a couple of players of the team. Like, inevitably, one of you, you're gonna have to fight each other at some point anyway. And I think that's the big thing is that, like you said, you would have done that with anyone in that situation. If someone was like, hey, I'm solo, you're solo, the rest of them are teams. It makes strategic sense.
Yeah, I think I've messaged people before when I'm last alive, like, let's team up. Because I didn't know. Like, it wasn't like, in my opinion, like, it's not cross-teaming in a way that's, like, malicious, you know what I mean? It's not cross-teaming with a whole other team and running around as a team of 8 and shitting on everyone, you know what I mean?
True. You guys messaged each other before and you're like, hey, let's all go to the mall, meet up.
Yeah, that was a bit that we did before, which makes us look more like guilty, but we were messaging each other before, like, let's team up, like, as a bit, and then we did. I didn't even see him for the rest of the survival games, I think, or maybe I saw him and I was like, that's not, I don't want to fight him, like, someone's gonna die if we do this. But I mean, yeah, it made sense, and like I said, I would do that with literally anyone. Like, well, not anymore, but I would have done that with literally anyone. Like anyone that was alive, like, I would have teamed up with them.
Yeah, no, I think that makes sense. I mean, again, like, nothing came of it. I know, obviously, it was like kind of. I think that people wanted to know if something was going to happen because I know Tubbo and Tommy got kind of like told off for their like bit in parkour tag. I mean, nothing bad happened, but I think they were told that, hey, look, don't do that stuff again. And again, it made no difference to the outcome of the game. And I think that's what it comes down to is like, if you and Dream would have like rolled everybody, I think people would have been furious.
Yeah.
I think it would have been
but I don't know, like,
bad.
Like, even then, like, we had done it before and we hadn't been like, no one had told us like that's a bad thing. So I just presumed that it was like fine. So even if we had rolled the whole event, like, I would hope that the outcome wouldn't have been different. Because like, it wasn't something that didn't make sense. Like, it wasn't just like annoying. Like, it literally just made sense. And B, I would have done it with anyone else. C, we had done it before and we weren't like ever told that we weren't supposed to do that. So, yeah, in my opinion, even if we had literally just 2v like killed everyone, in my opinion, we should have, the outcome should have been the same. We were told not to do it again, and then everyone moves on. Yeah,
no, that makes sense. Well, that is literally all I have. I mean, I am crossing my fingers for a benched Buildmart next event. There is no way that I can. I mean, if I had to vote for it with this team, I would have to, because I think Scott and Shovel could probably carry me. But I'm PvP through and through, man. I would not in good conscience vote for Buildmart. It would hurt me a little bit. Do you have any final parting words? I said this to Antfrost and it made him freeze. So if you don't have parting words, that is fine.
I'll have parting words. Reddit, come on, guys. I'm the #1 player in MCC. I think, in my opinion, in my honest, humble opinion, Illumina is a better Minecraft player than me. 100%. he just plays it more. He's better. So is Fruit. But I think when it comes down to MCC, I'm a better player. I think they're actually better at the games than me. They are, like, they're just better at each game. Like, just like if like we were to 1v1 in each game, they'd probably beat me. But it's not just that. It's like how you play, what you do in like pressure situations, and of course my biggest argument, dodgeball. I love you, Aluminum Fruit. You guys are cracked, but I'm better at MCC specifically. Yeah, those are my parting words. That's my most polite. I'm the best ever.
Call out post I've ever heard. Hey, Aluminum Fruit, you guys are great, but I'm better at specific moments.
Yeah.
Well, look, thank you so much for taking the time to do this. I do find it hilarious that this has come about. I mean, it must be like 7 a.m. for you. You're just like, I haven't slept. Let's do the podcast. I'm like, let's go.
I was like, let's run it right now. Exactly.
So, yeah, no, thank you for making the time. I appreciate it. And look forward to the next MCC where we will be facing off against each other. I'm going to run at you in survival games.
Yeah, you better not.
Thanks, man. Right.